Rahul, you've had a glorious career. You've had great moments and you've had a lot of success. And you have handled all the high points with a lot of humility. But you've had some bad patches in the 97-98 time frame, and again after the World Cup in 2007, and maybe other times. How have you picked up yourself? How do you ensure? Because there is always 10 guys waiting there to take your slot.
Yeah, I mean, there have been challenges and some very tough ones, but I think one of the things that stayed with me right through is this love of the game that I've had. I've really truly loved the game, and I've looked at it I looked at the whole career as a chance to keep improving, to keep getting better as a player, and not really so much worry about the guys who are coming behind me. Not really thinking about whether I'll be in the team, whether I'll not be in the team. As long as I kept improving and kept getting better as a player, or trying to improve, I might not have always improved, but at least kept trying to improve, kept trying to get better, then I didn't so much worry about the results or who's behind me and what's happening, so much as in my own mind I knew that, look, at least you're trying your best, you're trying to get better, you're doing whatever it takes to be a better player, and if I did that, then I didn't so much worry about the results, so to speak. I think there have been disappointments and there are some very tough moments when we've lost, and it's been really hard, especially after the 2007 World Cup, to be knocked out in an event that personally I had spent nearly 2 years working towards, and I felt at that stage we had a good team that could have gone far in the tournament, but we lost a couple of games early, and the format of the tournament was such that it didn't give us a chance to come back, and it was extremely disappointing, and I sort of had to come back home and have a long, hard think about what it was. But after a while, I think just the fact that I love this game so much it came through, and I still wanted to go back there and keep playing and keep trying to get better and trying to do what's right for the team. So yeah, I've been lucky in the sense that I've had this love of the game that's sort of drawn me back to it even in my tough times and pulled me back into the game, which I think has really helped.
Well, we are a large professional services company in IT consulting with over 200,000 people. We believe the best way to perform is to empower all the 200,000 people in such a way that we create a platform for each one to improve. We call it by a theme called realize your potential. If everyone uses the opportunity to improve and then go for whatever they want to do, then we will be a better company, not only in terms of business performance, but better company in terms of other people, society, and so on. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's fascinated me, I guess, when you say that like 250, 230,000 people, when I was a captain of a team, to get 15 people in this team, or to get 15 people in the team to go on one direction is, to understand, it's tough, it's not easy. So it's to communicate your message to 230,000 people, it's not, obviously, I guess there's some, you should tell me how you do it.
There is a...
Times I was struggling with 15.
There is a trick actually. Each of our teams are 15 people. So we have multiple teams of 15 people.
Yeah.
And then we kind of break the company down into smaller units. Yeah. And each unit has a leader, and they go about making decisions and running their own little unit.
Yeah, but it must be hard because in a lot of ways, I think a lot of your guys all over the world can get so easily lost. If they don't, it's hard. It must be hard for a guy like, I remember seeing in Amsterdam, but somebody working for a TCS office in Amsterdam. How does he connect with you? How does he connect? Or the vision of TCS?
I think for us, the communication is the number one priority. I won't say challenge, number one priority. So what we do is that continuously upgrade and use technology, and we have a digitally networked enterprise. And this morning we launched our next generation social media platform, which is again going to be a huge communication platform whereby everyone is able to do whatever they want to do and communicate not only with people one-on-one, but into the communities through smartphones. So for us, communication is the most important thing, and I do my communication through the network as well. We do sessions like this, but obviously we can cover a few hundred people every time we do it, and we do it in multiple parts of the world. But the main thing is the digitally connected platform we have.
Yeah, it's terrific because it's in some ways, that. I mean, we as cricket players, we don't have much of a choice in the sense that I have to play for India. I can't play for Australia. But your employees can choose to go somewhere else. So keeping them here, so it's great.
Well, there are more questions I can ask, but I think what I'll do is to open it up for the audience. Let's take a few questions from the audience, and we'll come back again, and we can chat a little bit more. Firoz here? No, wait, Firoz. We'll give the mic.
Since we are on the subject of cricket, there's a moment that this country has been waiting for. And that moment happened when Rahul Dravid was sitting with TCS. Sachin just got his 100.
Okay, it's great stuff. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Okay, let me start with the questions. First of all, Rahul, on behalf of all Indians and on behalf of the 230,000 TCSers, thank you for all that you have done for us in the field and for the country.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Chandra, the way Rahul steers the ball well, you steered this conversation well to reinforce on your messages. Thank you for that as well.
Couldn't hear. Slow. Can you keep the mic a little away from you?
I just said, Chandra, that the way Rahul steers the ball well, you steered this conversation well to reinforce on all your messages through Dravid. Thank you so much for that.
I wasn't coached. I wasn't coached as well, so I must admit.
Then it's an even better job done, Rahul. Now the question to you, Rahul. The evening before a match, you have a strategy meeting. You are the captain. You take a decision. Or you are deliberating an idea and the most valuable player in your team disagrees. How do you deal with that?
I think the team must always come
Shiva does it to me all the time.
Okay.
I'm not using Rahul as well, Chandra.
I think in cricket teams and in the good cricket teams or the teams which I feel have had the best environment that I've played in, I think we've had certain non-negotiable rules. There are certain things that are non-negotiables, which irrespective of who you are in the team and what you are in the team, you follow these non-negotiable rules, and everyone signs into this right at the beginning. And one of the rules is that you back your captain irrespective of what decision he makes. You can agree to disagree, you can make your point, but in the end of the day, when you walk across that line, you then back him completely. Obviously, in a team when there are big players, you want to use their expertise, their knowledge, especially if they're good players. You know that there is a certain amount of knowledge that they possess, which can benefit the team, which can benefit you as a captain. So something you want to use. So the balance, I guess, is in trying to, and in my experience, at least in cricket teams, is I've been lucky to work with generally the good players are the ones who also understand that the team must always come first. And I guess the job of the captain, in my point of view, is to get that knowledge and allow them to express themselves and feel free to express themselves without having that fear of it,
It's so fascinating that you say that, because we have the same rule. We have our business meetings, and typically 25 to 30 people. And we will debate, we will discuss, we will criticize, but when we walk out with a single view.
Yeah, I think that's I guess that's the most important thing is even in cricket. I think you've got to be on the same page once you've walked out. And I'll be honest, it doesn't always happen. And there are teams and there are times when there are people or guys whose own personal goals and ambitions. It's what I think you must understand also in cricket teams is there's a huge amount of pressure. One of the things like I joked and said that, look, we don't have any choice. This is the only team we play for. In some ways, that creates a huge amount of pressure as well. There's no other job that I can go to. There's no other job that my teammates can go to. So there's a lot of times that people are under incredible amount of pressure to keep their places in the squad because there's nowhere else they can go. And it does build a huge amount of pressure on people, and it takes a lot of, I think, sacrifice. It takes a lot of courage for young players and teammates, a lot of my teammates, to be able to put the team first. It's not an easy decision when you have so much riding on you, so much of not only your life, but sometimes your family's life riding on the very decisions you make.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Rahul. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
My question is, which one is difficult to handle, accolades or criticism?
I mean, the accolades are nice, but I think that's a good question, and no one's ever asked me. I never thought about it, actually. I haven't never thought about it. I mean, I think you can learn more from criticism, but you've got to be ensure in a country like India as a cricketer that you've got to be able to in some ways recognize what's useful for you, and not, you know, and take on board what, you know, I think works. Also, I think with the accolades, it's really important to recognize that you can't get carried away. So I think it works both ways, especially in a country like India where, you know, as you know, cricketers are, you know, can be taken to the sky one day and you know, just drop down like a hot potato the next day. Just having this balance of being able to deal with this ups and downs of an international career is incredibly important for longevity. I think if you get carried away in either direction, if you get too low on too down on yourself when you fail, or if you get, you know, too carried away when you succeed, I don't, you know, I've seen that happen to a lot of young players, and I think, you know, that you're going to burn yourself out sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
Rahul,
Hi.
Hello.
So my name is Debashish. I have a question. It's slightly personal in the sense that you've been a captain, you've played under several captains. Who do you rate as the best captain? And what are the qualities that you regard are important for a great captain?
I think some of the good captains that I worked with, definitely, you know, I think in the time that he came in, Saurav did a good job for India. Dhoni has, I think, been terrific for India. I think Dhoni's really led well. Anil, I thought, did a good job in the time that he came and captained us for a few games. Outside of India, I enjoyed watching someone like Mark Taylor captain, someone like Nasir Hussain for England. I thought was a very good captain. One of the things that, for me, I mean, and each one, I guess, gets inspired or looks at leaders in different ways. One of the things when I looked at a captain, I looked for someone who walked the talk. I was someone, I liked, rather than someone who spoke a lot and said a lot of things, I sort of looked up to or preferred someone who actually led by example. You know, someone who actually did the hard yards himself. You know, if he expects you to perform or bat for long periods of time, or if he sets certain standards, expects you to set certain standards in fitness, then I always believe that, you know, the captain should be making an effort to do that as well. It's not possible that the captain will always be the best player in the team, or he'll be the one to be able to, the most fittest. But as long as he was putting the effort to try and do that, I think did it for me. And I always looked up to people who I thought set the right example, both on and off the field. And I think, you know, that's why I try to do it, you know.
Hi Rahul, it's really great to be in your presence here today. I have always been a great fan of you, and I literally had goosebumps while you were walking in here. It's really great to have you here. It's an honor to be in your presence.
Thank you.
My question is, you know, there have been so many moments in your career where you really performed well, but there was somebody else in your team who did a little bit better, but, you know, they always carried the cake away. What did you feel about that?
Like I said, I mean, I really enjoyed being part of a team and enjoyed, you know, sharing in the success of the team. And a lot of times I think, you know, one of the things that you realize in a cricket team is that if you want the team to win, it's not an individual effort. You can't win. It's very rarely that one man can single-handedly win a cricket match. You need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people to contribute to be able to win cricket games. And the greatest joy and some of my greatest memories was as I leave the game, and, you know, what do I think when I look back on some of my career and I, you know, just sort of reflect on it, some of the things that come to the top of my mind are some of the great wins that we've had, some of the celebrations that we've had after winning some great test matches. Those are memories that sort of stand out for me. I think to have those kind of memories, you need to recognize that a lot of people need to contribute in the team. It can't be a single man show, So in that way, I enjoyed being part of a side where there were 3, 4, 5 people contributing, and we could all share in that success. I think it was a privilege for me to be, in some of these, when a lot of people say that, I got 180 at Calcutta and, Lakshman got 281 and he overshadowed me. But for me personally, it was a privilege to be able to bat with Lakshman and to see the way he played and the way he performed, and to be a part of that partnership. I think sharing in partnerships, I think one of the really good statistics that for me gives me a lot of pleasure as I sort of finish test cricket is that I've been involved in the most number of 100-run partnerships in the history of the game. And I think that for me has given me a lot of, sometimes even more than the runs that I've got, being part of a partnership and taking catches. I think even taking catches was something that I really enjoyed, because when you scored 100 or when you did something when you were batting, you shared that good feeling or that good moment with one other person. Obviously, when you came back to the dressing room, you could share it with your teammates. But when you took a catch, a wicket fell, everyone came together and you had a chance to immediately share that success with 10 or 11 people. And I think that sort of gave me a lot of joy. So I enjoyed those catches as well, and being part of someone's success. And so dropping catches, so converse to that, dropping catches, gave me a real amount of frustration.
Rahul, congratulations for a great career, and thank you very much as well.
Thank you.
And Chandra, we have seen a lot of your interviews, and you give great interviews on behalf of TCS and India, but good to see your new talent as being the interviewer as well. So question for Rahul, so you talked about hockey, and I am a diehard fan of India in hockey. We have been waiting for a medal in Olympics for the last 32 years. So the current crop of Indian team looks like a solid team. Do you have any views on the current Indian team and about their chances in the Olympics?
I must admit I'm not an expert, so I wouldn't want to. But I think it's been great to see that the way we won the tournament recently, the qualifying tournament, and to watch the enthusiasm of the country when we won that. I think that was what was exciting to me. I love playing hockey, and I played with, in my school team, there were a couple of guys who went on to play for India. So we had some great memories as a school, inter-school hockey team. But I think it's great to see that, that hockey is sort of hopefully picking up. I know that from what I gather, and like I said, I'm not an expert, the Olympics is going to be a lot tougher. There's some lot better teams in the Olympics, so it's not going to be easy. But it's nice to see that it's looking up. And at least there's an enthusiasm and an interest for the game in the country, which I think is critical.
Rahul, you've been the captain, okay, and you've got a guy like Sehwag opening for you. He's got the bowling at his mercy. He scored a 40 in 20 balls, and then he does something and gets out the only way, only how he knows how to get out. How do you deal with the disappointment of what could have been had he gone on to do something big?
Banging my head against the wall.
Bang him against the wall.
No.
Hello.
Just
a minute.
Sehwag's unique in a lot of ways. I mean, he is the kind of guy who can thrill you and frustrate you in the matter of 5 minutes. So I think he's the kind of guy you've got to, like the earlier question, when the best player in your team or one of your star players, if you call it, you've got to give them a certain license and you've got to learn to rein them in. And I think that's what we've tried to do with Sehwag. I mean, it's impossible to rein him in sometimes. But I think, you've got to recognize that he wins so many games for India doing what he does. He can destroy an opposition, and he's done it so many times. So I think, and if he's got to play that role, and you've got to then see the flip side of the coin, is that he's also going to be able to frustrate you. And in a cricket team, when you have 6 or 7 batsmen, I think it's helped us to have different kinds of players, people who play quite differently. There are people who are attacking, whether it's a Sehwag and sometimes Lakshman against spin. I've probably been the most solid player. Gautam's someone again who's a bit more solid. Sachin is sort of Sachin who can sort of play both roles in a lot of ways. So I think having that balance is important. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mention the coach's name, but I've seen a scene where the coach has picked up Sehwag and nearly hit him because. So we've seen it all.
Rahul, my question to you. Yes. Rahul,
Sorry.
over here.
Where am I? Where are we? Oh, there.
There.
Okay. Rahul, you've had a long and esteemed playing career. What I want to understand is how have you kept yourself motivated and ensured you've not got complacent over this period?
Like I said, I think I probably, in some ways, it's just, I haven't had to motivate myself. I've been very lucky that, it's never been difficult for me to motivate myself to play cricket, period, whether it's for India or whether it's for anyone. I grew up with the love of this game, and I feel lucky that I was able to make what was for me a hobby, a career. I mean, not many people have that, luck in some ways. So I grew up with this, and then I sort of, as a dream, and it just became a career. It's something I've lived 39 years of my life with. So I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky. I've had no need to motivate myself, really.
Some questions from the back also? Yeah, go on, Prasad.
Rahul, a question for you. I have two questions. One is a serious question and one is a very easy question. But first, some facts. Many of us who are deputed all over the world, sometimes we go to small town America where the population of 20,000 and we teach them cricket. We play baseball, but we run towards the pitcher with the bat in hand. They try to hit us because they don't know cricket. But nevertheless, we teach them cricket, so that's a fact for you. My first question is the serious question. When you have someone in your team as a captain and you know that there is something wrong, the form is down, how do you take that? How do you, even as a team, try to recognize or try to help bring the player up to his full potential? That's the first question. The second question is the easy one. How do you feel now that you know that frequently in large corporations like TCS, that our CEO frequently tells us that if you are the first man down, you have to play like the first man down, otherwise you can always be the 12th man. So in a sense, that how do you feel now that you know that you are watched more than the team of a nation, but also referred to in serious conversations which relate to our performance, our futures, and it relates to your behavior, your performance, and in that regard, what do you think of these two questions?
So I'm glad I didn't know this before. It would have added pressure to me. Now I'm retired. Now it doesn't matter. You know what? But sorry, the first question was, shucks, sorry, I've lost you. I've just.
If you work for a captain, the captain is down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, I got
poor
it.
form, poor run.
I think it depends. I think each individual is different. We're lucky in a team. You have 15, 16, 20 people, and each individual is very different. And I think part of the job of a captain of a team, of a cricket team, really is to I guess get to know people and understand what triggers work for certain people and at what time. There are a lot of people who respond much better to a nice chat and a cup of coffee and a tea. There are others who need sometimes a bit of a rocket, as we call it. Sometimes you need to be told that look, you're not doing what's required. You need to pull up your socks. So I think it works in different ways, and the coach and the captain then have to come up with a strategy that works to motivate or work with different people in form or not. I think that's one of the challenges, I guess, of being a cricket captain. I guess for me personally, I know one of the most difficult things, and probably Chandra will be able to in some way share light on this. For me, one of the most difficult things as a captain was to tell people that they're not playing, or to drop people, or tell people they're not picked in the team or not picked in the 15. I guess it's similar to you, I guess, not maybe sacking someone, or it's probably too hard a word, but maybe demoting someone or telling somebody else that, look, you've given this responsibility to X or Y instead of you. And I think I found that one of the most draining parts of my job, just the telling people that they're dropped. And you had to do that. You have to do that a lot of times. But I found that challenging, and I guess I don't know. It's good to know how you do it.
You're absolutely right. It's a very tough thing to do. In our case, changing roles. When two people compete for the job, both are expecting a particular role. You're going to give it to someone and not to the other one. It's a very difficult thing to do, and because there are always so many good people, and each wanting to grow, wanting to do, and then you have to do it in such a way that we at least believe in our culture. we want to do it in such a way that the other person still is part of the team, either as part of that unit or some other unit, and still pumping up and going. We don't want to lose a person who is extremely talented. So I adopt the approach that usually when I don't think that many of them know, but usually adopt the approach that when I have to do this, first I meet with the people who are not going to get the job. I'll never announce to the person who is going to get the job. So I kind of do all the groundwork, and I assess who is reacting in what way. Then I talk to them about their strengths and their weaknesses, what they need to improve to go to the next level, and then we are able to do it. So far, we're able to do it.
Oh. You must be. You've still got 230,000. So
yeah, but the good thing is I don't do it for all the 230,000.
That's true. I found that one of the great challenges of being a captain. I really found that.
Yeah, I think
Just one more question.
I really don't have time. Maybe we will take both of these questions together, and Rahul will answer. Then we got to close.
Rahul, okay, I'll start.
Yeah, Prasad, go on.
Rahul, you mentioned that you practice to stay in the present zone without worrying about the past ball or without worrying about the next ball. Do you practice any particular technique to build this mental capability?
Okay.
Rahul, you had one of the most difficult times as a captain when you were working with a coach, one of the most controversial coaches. Can you comment on that and how you overcame that phase of your captaincy and how you see that in terms of relating to business?
Okay. I'll answer his question first. Again, it's been a process of self-discovery a little bit. I've done various meditation techniques over the years. From the time I've been 16, 17, I've tried from transcendental meditation to all sorts of meditations, and I've found over the years that just being able to focus on my breathing has been able to center me and keep me in the present moment. It's one of the most difficult skills to achieve. At least I personally have found it incredibly difficult, and I mean right till the end, even now, it's sometimes very difficult to do. But I've found, and speaking to a lot of people who do meditate, and I found that meditation was one of the easier ways of trying to at least achieve that level of being in the present moment. You know, I found that was probably one of the better ones of doing it. To answer your question, I think obviously it was a challenging period for us, especially because the 2007 results didn't go the way we would have liked. It was a difficult period in the sense that I thought Greg definitely had a lot to offer, and I think he knows a hell of a lot about the game. But obviously, sometimes things didn't necessarily work out in terms of just the cultures and the way that clashed with the way, I don't know if there are any Australians here, but just the way that...
There are.
Okay.
There are.
But, you know, it's different. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I think Greg had so much to offer, and I think his directness and the way he came across, for a lot of people, for someone like me, I could handle it and I could deal with it, but a lot of people sometimes didn't respond very well to that direct approach that he maybe came up with. So I think it was a challenge. I think pulling teams together, pulling the guys together, and I think a lot of it was over-exaggerated and blown out of proportion a little bit as well. I'm sure there were certain guys in the team who didn't necessarily like the approach. But other than the World Cup, I thought we had some very good results, and we had some good tours in which we played some good cricket, and I thought we did well to play well in England. We did well in West Indies. We won a lot of one-day games. But obviously, in the end of the day, you are judged by your results of the World Cup, and we didn't have a good World Cup. And I guess as leaders and as people in charge of the team, in some ways, you have to take responsibility for that and say that, look, maybe we could have done a few little things a bit differently during that World Cup. Definitely.
Rahul, it was wonderful to have you.
Thanks.
And I think this chat can go on for the next couple of hours. You know, when I said to my team that make a film on Rahul Dravid, they were so excited they made 2 films.
Okay.
So we played the one in the beginning. Let's watch the second film.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
A small memento from us.
Thanks, Chandra. Thank you. Sorry.
6.
Thanks, Chandra. And this is a small memento from the Rajasthan Royals to TCS and to Chandra, to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support. Yeah, we at Rajasthan appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.